Hey guys, Tarke here, and welcome to the SSF Caustic Arrow Challenge. This video is basically my last two videos of me saying, nah, screw you game, I'm gonna make my own fun. So, my most recent video was kind of giving a review of 318, things I liked, things I disliked, and a big thing that I came into in that video was talking about progression, and how I feel like the difficulty curve and the timeline of Path of Exile feels off to me currently. And then in the video before that, I was talking about how I felt like Caustic Arrow didn't really scale too well with modern-day Path of Exile, and what I consider to be the minimum viability, or like the minimum requirements for a good functioning build. So, because I'm a weirdo, I've decided to take an ability that I feel like doesn't really scale as well as it should in modern-day Path of Exile, and do a SSF series dedicated entirely to just getting it as far as I can. Now, rather than my usual sort of like League Start SSF series where I'm doing like daily updates, this is going to be more of like a slow and steady grind over like hopefully a period of months. So this is a build that does function quite well in Trade League, and when I made my Caustic Arrow video, I had a few people saying like, but this build does really work. You just need like the double cluster jewels, you need these crazy like triple influence items and all this stuff, and I'm like, yeah, I know you can do that, but I feel like that is too much requirements. Well, yeah, I've basically picked a build like that, which I know I can do the base content, but trying to take this against the Uber content is going to require a lot of work. So, this is going to involve periods of having my Atlas tree fully specced into Delirium to farm a bunch of cluster jewels, doing the perfect cluster jewel setups. Then it's going to involve a whole bunch of time, focusing on Alva for like double corrupts. And basically, it's going to be something which is going to involve just a lot of work, and maybe expect slightly less frequent updates, but rather than like this is what we've achieved today, more kind of like this is where we're currently at, this is what we're going to do to try and reach the next goal, and seeing it more kind of like that. If you've watched Lighty's like SSF series on collecting uniques, maybe expect something slightly akin to that in sort of the format and approach that I'm taking. But I guess I will just start off briefly by just saying, so what are we doing? We are, as I mentioned, a Caustic Arrow occultist, because I feel like it's just the best way to get high damage numbers on this. Also, I'm going to try and do everything on a just straight Caustic Arrow setup without leaning too heavily on stuff like Toxic Rain Ballistas or additional Toxic Rain setups, because I feel like it kind of defeats the purpose a little bit if I'm like, I want to make this skill work that used to work really well for all the endgame, and then it ends up being like a Toxic Rain build. If I feel like I have to have that additional damage, especially when it comes to the big scary bosses, then I will add it in there, but I'm going to try and make it all work without. And, yeah. We've actually had quite an interesting first few days of progress on this character, and it's one of the reasons why I enjoy SSF so much, is I've run into a few quite interesting items, which are items I wouldn't normally use if, for example, I played in a trade league. So, something which might actually stick around for a lot longer than you would expect is Eba's Unification. Eba's Unification seems like a pretty whatever unique. It's like got no life on there, a little bit of energy shield, Void Gaze, what does that do? And then gain 5% of LE damage with extra chaos damage. Well, Void Gaze is actually pretty nice against all the Chaos Weaver mobs that are running around with crazy jacked Chaos Res and immune to Wither. So when I use a skill, I apply minus 20 Chaos Res to enemies, and it lasts for 13 seconds. Pretty good. Now, eventually, I would want to replace this with a rare helmet with nearby enemies have minus 9 Chaos Res, and then the, like, missing 11 Chaos Res then gets, like, offset by a whole bunch of really nice, like, life, spell suppression modifiers like that. But yeah, for, like, an early day one pickup, this gives me as much damage as an extra link, and when you're only on a 4 link in the early end game, you haven't even got to 5 link stuff yet, this is actually massive. So that is a big nice pickup. Another item which I actually quite enjoy, I used to use it a lot back in the day, it's quite rare, but Ascent from Flesh, it used to be very strong on stuff like Trickster, and old like Occultist, Energy Shield Recharge meme builds, but it gives you a bunch of ES, it gives you a bunch of evasion rating, a little bit of all res, and you have phasing if any shield recharge has started recently, 30% increased evasion rating while phasing, and movement speed while phasing. So yeah, it's just an additional source getting phasing in between quartz flasks, and even when using a quartz flask, it's still a belt early on, giving me just shy of 100 flat evasion rating. Sorry, 300 flat evasion rating, 100 flat energy shield, some all res, and then some movement speed with some evasion scaling. Very, very nice. Nothing too fancy elsewhere, just like items that give me some stats. I am also looking forward, and this is also one thing I am doing, is I'm focusing for my Atlas, going very heavy on Jun early on, and collecting unveiled items and also expedition for fractured items for big long-term recombobulator projects, which will be something that I'll be quite looking forward to, and I look forward to making some crafting videos about that. But yeah, so we're collecting a bunch of frenzy charge rings and so forth, and then I think these boots are probably my best rare in the fact that they just have usable movement speed, chaos res, lightning res, and life. For the whole recon bob aspect of it, I've set up my stash very specifically. So this is based off experience from my previous SSF run this league. I've got 2 tabs which are going to be purely for collecting eye-level 86 bases. And then these 3 tabs will kind of be fluff tabs for either good fractures, which maybe fall into different builds, that they're just too good to throw away in SF. This was a +1 fire gem one I didn't want to throw away. And then this will be specifically where I collect, like, these are good body armors, good helms, gloves, boots, so on and so forth. Bows, quivers, jewelry. And yeah, having a very well-managed set of stash tabs for managing recon bob projects. And with that, I'm hoping for some pretty good long-term success. I've already locked into a 4-point chaos multi-duel, which is brilliant. Saves me some work. Obviously, it needs to be re-rolled, but just getting the base is the hard thing in SSF. And then a 9-point damage over time bow skills and a 10-point chaos damage skills. I'm actually planning on going for double clusters if I can get them. One here and one here. So we're going to have to do a whole lot of daily farming. So that should be interesting. But anyway, I just thought I'd make this video just to establish the goals of this. Best of luck to, well, I was going to say best of luck to you guys, but I guess, yeah, also best of luck to you guys with what your endeavors are. But yeah, best of luck to me, rather. And I hope you look forward to the long-term, maybe slightly less frequent updates on this. And let me know if there are any specific things you would like me to talk through when it comes to my approach of how I'm going to be, like, prioritizing. Are we going, for example, an expedition farm first or a delirium orb farm, delirium farm first? I guess I could talk about that a little bit. So I know that I need to do a bunch of essence farming, and I need to do a bunch of delirium farming, and I specifically thought, right, well, essence is something that I normally always rush in SSF, but essences are very spooky at the moment with Arch Nemesis. So instead, I'm actually not going to prioritize rushing that, and instead I'm going to prioritize getting all my unveils unlocked, getting some early Katarinas, specifically because I need to get the +2 support gemcraft unlocked from Katarina, and by forcing these unveils early, it lets me collect powerful items for recon bob crafting, but also quite a good chance of just unveiling rares that straight up upgrades in the early game. Likewise with Expedition, it's a way to get just good usable early items through stuff like ROG, collect things for long-term projects in terms of like fractured bases, and just things like Tujin. Having access to early currency early on is very meaningful. And it also happens to put me next to all the Legion nodes, which is how I got the majority of my 6 links at my last SSF run, and I will be needing Timeless Jewels. So my priority is get all the Syndicate stuff, while picking up some Expedition stuff. Once I've got those all blasted out, then start picking up Legion, get my Timeless Jewels actions, and then start shifting over to more stuff on the left-hand side of the tree. And yes, anyway, I'm Tarke. Have a good day. See you all soon. Bye-bye.